How do we decide if it's time to start losing a little bit of body fat? Very simple. If you want to know if you're in a healthy range of body fat percentage, and this is approximate, guys, for men, the healthy range is in between 10 and 20% simply based off of genetics. For the vast majority of my clients, I tell them your goal should be about 15% body fat for men. For women, the range is 17 to 27%, whereas my female clients, I say that you should shoot for about 22%. Now, 10% and 17% for men and women, 10 for men, 17 for women, is perfectly fine depending on who you are. Some people have genetics to hold more body fat. Some people have genetics to hold less body fat. It's very easy to know because when you're around 5 to 10 years old, usually you are at your genetic normal range. So if you were skinny back then, or if you were a little chubby back then you'll know what end of that 10 to 20% for men and 17 to 27% for women you should fall under. So the vast majority is going to be about in the middle of that. However, there are going to be some people who naturally fall on the lower end. Some people who naturally fall on the higher end. It's when you go above or below those ranges that slowly you start introducing more and more health problems. What are some of those negative effects that being outside of that range, particularly over, can have on the human body for men and women? Number one, negative effect on hormones. This is really big, guys, if you're trying to lose weight. And also if you're trying to gain muscle, which I think that everyone should be trying to gain some muscle if they're losing weight. Men and women should be trying to gain muscle, not just men. 5 years ago, I hear a lot of women saying, well, if I want my backside to look bigger, then I need to eat more cheeseburgers. And that has, thank God, started to fall off. And we're starting to see more and more people lean heavier toward, okay, it's not so much about having a lot of body fat. I need to build muscle in those regions. I'm not too sure because I don't follow a lot of female fitness influencers. However, I have noticed that quite a bit. So whatever's affecting that and changing that, definitely listen to that. Don't listen to like Lizzo or something like that. I'm sure she's a lovely lady. I don't watch her. I don't listen to her. That's not what you want to look like. She's going to have a very short life if she stays the way that she is now. And if you try to follow her advice, you will as well. Women should build muscle as well. When you start negatively impacting hormones, we're going to talk about specifically what I know about, which is testosterone. Among other anabolic hormones, testosterone is probably the most anabolic in the male and even female body. That hormone specifically helps your sex drive as well as increases your muscle mass. It makes it a lot easier to build muscle, and it actually stimulates hypertrophy of the muscle as well. So you don't just simply build strength when you have high testosterone. You're more likely to have larger muscles because larger isn't necessarily stronger. Stronger muscles aren't necessarily larger. Those things aren't mutually exclusive. However, they do typically go together. They don't have to. Great case in point, Bruce Lee. Ripped to the bone, extremely strong. However, his muscles were fairly small compared to what a bodybuilder would look like. So that's one thing that is impacted by being overweight or under. Number two is having bad sleep. This is really important. Of course, you know, it's really hard to work out if you're tired. Sleepiness also, not sleepiness, but lack of sleep also negatively impacts hormones again. So a lot of these things actually intertwine with each other, and you'll notice that they kind of compound off of each other. They all go together if you really take everything into account. So yeah, bad sleep. You need sleep to improve your hormones, to improve your heart health, to have better workouts, and to recover from those workouts. Speaking of heart health, that is another thing that is negatively impacted. Obviously, when you start gaining weight, it impacts your heart. You gain more plaque in the arterial walls. Your blood cholesterol goes up. Very bad, guys. Obviously, we want to avoid that as best as we can. I believe the number one killer in America has been for a long time heart disease. And then I think like the fourth killer in America is stroke, if I remember correctly. Avoid that at all costs, obviously. Do what you can. You know, you can't prevent everything. When it's your time to go, then you're going to go. You're going to go home. However, We want to do what we can in our power to stick around as long as possible within a healthy range. The basic way to lose weight, and a lot of people should know this, it's a very simple formula, guys. There's no magic pill to losing weight. It's very simple, and I'm going to tell you right now. Within a range, if you want to know your range specifically, I have to talk to you in person or over the phone so we can set up a session, something like that, even a trial session. Again, get in touch with me. However, in this range, to lose body fat, you need to do 3 to 5 days of strength training per week and 150 minutes of cardio, steady state cardio, where your heart rate is 120 to 130 beats per minute per week. 3 to 5 days of strength training, 150 minutes of cardio per week. That's your goal, period. To do 150 minutes of cardio per week, there's 2 really simple ways to break it up. And I like to do either 5 days of 30 minutes of steady state cardio or 6 days of 25 minutes of steady state cardio. I have a benefit because I'm a personal trainer, so I walk around the floor with people and I just simply don't sit down that much. However, that I just add on to normal cardio because that's really low cardio. So maybe I'll take like 5 minutes, 10 minutes off, but I still get at least 20 minutes of cardio a day. The second thing to do, very simple, eat a calorie deficit, 300 to 700 calories a day. Again, it's a range because everyone's different. 3 to 5 days of training, strength training per week, 150 minutes of cardio per week, calorie deficit of 300 to 700 calories a day. Don't count your calories, like don't count your calories burnt. Only count your calories eaten. Don't worry about your calories burnt. If you're hitting those numbers that I'm giving you, you don't have to count your calories burnt.